despite evidence to the contrary, the 1980s ended over 30 years ago. In that time, video games have arguably taken over, or soon will take over, as the dominant medium in entertainment. Although the games we play today eclipse those early efforts in storytelling and audio-visual fidelity, some of the icons of the 80s have clung on, reminding us of a time when gaming didn't know what it was yet, and a protagonist could be a bartender, or a paperboy, or a plumber. Welcome YouTube humans, as I gleefully exploit your nostalgia glands once more. It's a me, not important. Honourable mention, Super Mario Sunshine. Mario's place in gaming history isn't so much about nostalgia. Every attempt at reviving 80s franchises decades after their relevance tends to end in disaster, but Mario never really went away, and although there were a few duds along the way, what has been most enduring about Mario is the quality of the titles he's starred in. This has made narrowing down the top 10 Mario games pretty tough, so I had to throw in an honourable mention. Sunshine refined the format established back in Mario 64. Movement in 3D space is enhanced thanks in part to the addition of a water jet backpack named Flood, but mainly to the new, more human-friendly controller. Models now utilise higher polygon counts, audio was CD quality and included voice acting. Statistically, Sunshine ties with the next couple of games in the list with a score of 92. Those who missed out on the Gamecube release may yet get another chance, as it's rumoured to be re-released for Switch sometime this year. Number 10. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There's only one real reason that the kart racer genre is still a thing, and that's the popularity of Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe continues Nintendo's slightly distressing theme of porting Wii U titles over to the Switch, although in this case not without some much needed enhancements. The latest in the Mario Kart series is arguably one of the best, taking the established novelties from the base game like anti-gravity and faster returns from the race after going off track, while also adding more characters and pickups, enhancing the resolution and frame rate, particularly while docked, and giving battle mode some much needed care and attention. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe holds 10th position on our chart with a score of 92. Number 9. Super Mario World. If you're introducing a new gamer to the 2D Mario series for the first time, Super Mario World is the one to do it with. Originally released along with the Super Famicom in late 1990, Super Mario World brought the already genre-defining platformers into the new console generation, with the enhanced graphics and sound that implies. Gameplay is emblematic of the original series, adding series staples like spin jumps and flight power-ups. Also new for Mario World is series regular Yoshi the Dinosaur, who adds the nice family-friendly gameplay mechanic of eating your enemies. Super Mario World has seen numerous releases across the console generations, and although the SNES launch predates the existence of Metacritic scores by about a decade, its 2001 release for Game Boy Advance, as Super Mario Advance 2, gives us a Metascore of 92. Number 8. Super Mario 3D World. 3D World is a bit of an oddball in the Mario series. Not a 2D or 2.5D game like New Super Mario Bros., but not deserving of the full weight of development that the flagship titles like the aforementioned Sunshine either. 3D World is the sequel to 3D Land, originally launched in 2011 for the 3DS. This 2013 Wii U release didn't have the limitations of the handheld platform to contend with like its prequel, however, it still retains that game's simplified control layout and game structure, intended to be somewhere between 2D and full 3D, rendered in 3D, but with distinctly more 2.5D gameplay. Super Mario 3D World flew under many gamers' radars given its launch on the underwhelming Wii U console, but can be credited with at least bringing one thing to the pop culture conversation: Mario in a catsuit. if for that alone, 3D World deserves its Metacritic score of 93. Number 7. Mario Kart Super Circuit. It seems like every top 10 based on Metacritic scores is going to have at least one entry that makes me scratch my head a little. Super Circuit is this list's that game, being the first Mario Kart game released on a handheld and suffering all of the limitations that implies. In 2001, this meant a Game Boy Advance release with elements grafted from the latest console title, then Mario Kart 64, onto a game more in line with what the hardware was capable of, like the original Super Mario Kart. Gameplay was pretty much in line with the home console games, and 4-player competitive races were an option if you had 3 like-minded friends with consoles and link cables. But in reality, this isn't a Mario Kart game that has stood the test of time, and its higher score than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or indeed any other Mario Kart game in the series, is perhaps a little too generous. Nevertheless, Mario Kart Super Circuit holds 7th place with a score of 93. Number 6. Paper Mario. Demonstrating the plumber's mastery of all gaming genres, Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars was released to universal acclaim on the Super Nintendo in 1996. Given the rave reviews at the time, Team Mario of course returned with this, the first game in the Paper Mario series. Fully embracing its unique visual style of 2D paper-like sprites in a cartoonish 3D world, Paper Mario has a fully fleshed out story with character dialogue and cutscenes. Combat is performed in the familiar JRPG turn-based manner, which while limited in choice compared to a Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger, has its own nuance through a system of badges Mario can equip to give different bonuses. The Paper Mario games might not have earned the kind of financial success that the other Mario series have, but this title was universally well received by critics and holds a Metascore of 93. Number 5. Super Mario Bros. 3. So, as Super Mario Bros. 2 was released as 2 different games depending on where you were in the world, I guess this is the 4th game in the series? The 2 various iterations of Mario 2 are both substantially different in gameplay. The Western release being a hasty rebrand of a completely different game, and the Japanese release essentially a much harder version of the first Mario. Mario Bros. 3 then was the title to bring Mario back to his roots, and the first game to really feel like a true sequel. Released in 1988 in Japan, and hyped to death before its Western release in 1990, Mario 3 builds on the first game's basic principles, while adding plenty of new features, including an overworld map allowing players to complete levels in the order of their choosing, new power-ups and new abilities like flight, hammer throwing, water breathing, etc., and the newly enhanced graphics that not only tested the very limits of the NES, but also created a more cartoonish, lovable aesthetic that the franchise would come to embrace. Once more, the original game predates the Metacritic database, so we're relying on the score from the Game Boy Advance release, titled Super Mario Advance 4. This version received a Metascore of 94. Number 4. Super Mario 64. If you've caught anything from my commentary so far, it's that Mario has somehow transcended genres. The biggest challenge, however, for Mario or any other property was the transition to 3D. By the mid-1990s, 3D accelerator technology had made its way into mainstream consoles, making developers who ignored or dragged their feet over this exciting new technology appear to be falling behind. In the process to be the first to transition a 2D platformer to a 3D environment, there were some notable failures. It was up to Mario to show them how it was done. Mario 64 managed to be exactly what gamers' expectations for a 3D Mario game should be. The 3D camera, a concept on which the game's success hinged, was well introduced and easy to understand, and helped define the way such an interface should be done properly. Gameplay changed dramatically from the 2D games, with more emphasis on exploration and combat than simply reaching the end of a level with a high score. Mario 64 marked a schism in the Mario universe. While Nintendo would later prove they weren't done with a 2D side-scrolling platformer style they'd perfected previously, their 3D sandbox-style games would be their flagship titles going forward. Super Mario 64 holds a Metascore of 94. Quick disclaimer for those paying attention, numbers 3, 2 and 1 all hold the same Metascore, and so tie for first place. I'm therefore not going to number them, but list them chronologically. Super Mario Galaxy. The success of Mario 64 and Sunshine set a formula for how Nintendo should create 3D Mario games going forwards, and they'd have been forgiven perhaps for sticking to the formula for a few titles before trying new things. This, as it turns out, wasn't what Nintendo's Entertainment Analysis and Development division had in mind. In the 5 years since Sunshine's release, game design had gone all in on making realistic physics engines and using them as a device within gameplay. The interplanetary setting of Galaxy, therefore, provides an excellent background for the game to experiment with gravity-defying physics. This new outer space setting necessitated completely different gameplay styles than previous games, with Mario's primary jump attack being supplemented with a spin attack, activated with the shake of a Wii nunchuck. Galaxy was heralded on release as one of the best games ever made, offering a fresh take on the 3D platformer genre over a decade after its inception, and has earned the title for the joint highest scoring Super Mario game ever. Super Mario Galaxy 2. So, I said about a minute ago that Nintendo would have been forgiven for sticking to a successful formula for a while before trying new things. So, yeah, I guess I can't complain. But Super Mario Galaxy 2 is, well, it's more Super Mario Galaxy. Yep, should have seen it coming. It seems Nintendo EAD felt like they had enough material for new level designs that a DLC for Galaxy just wouldn't suffice, so the game, originally titled Super Mario Galaxy More, released 3 years later in 2010. Galaxy 2 doesn't innovate greatly over its predecessor, instead digging into Mario history for gameplay ideas. Notable among these is the return of Yoshi, bringing his not at all disturbing habit of eating enemies whole, as well as giving new methods of traversal around galaxies. The biggest change is perhaps the difficulty. While Galaxy was very much the pick-up and play game designed for people of all ages, Galaxy 2 is for the Galaxy player who completed the first game more than once and came back for more, and as such this sequel offers a much greater challenge than its predecessor. Perhaps surprisingly, given reviewers tend not to react so well to this type of expand-alone release, Galaxy 2 met with equal praise to its predecessor. It too holds a score on Metacritic of 97. Super Mario Odyssey. The 8th console generation proved tough for Nintendo to crack. With the Wii U failing to make a dent, the Switch was going to need some killer apps to attract the kind of critical and commercial success of the past, and mainstream AAA titles on competing consoles were proving they could offer more than just flashy graphics and entertaining gameplay. A 3D sandbox Mario for the Switch, then, was almost a foregone conclusion. This time around, Mario's feet are back on terra firma, with kingdoms replacing galaxies. The content of these levels vary from nostalgic designs similar to those found in previous games, to desert sands, to a realistic urban sprawl and much more. The biggest gameplay leap comes from the addition of Cappy, Mario's new friend and sentient headwear that acts not only as a primary weapon and tool, but also as the method of the game's newest mechanic, the ability to possess virtually any NPC in the game. With Cappy in hand, Mario has the ability to take control of an NPC and gain their abilities for a short time, creating a vast array of new gameplay options and ways to solve puzzles. This fresh new gameplay mechanic combines with the already polished formula to make one of the best platform experiences of all time on any system. Like Galaxy 1 and 2, Odyssey earns a well-deserved 97 on Metacritic and joins them as the best Mario games ever made. So, I guess we need to talk about why Mario Kart Mobile wasn't on the list. I tell you, I think the gaming media is just biased against microtransaction-based mobile games. Subscribe to the channel for the upcoming expose on this insidious media conspiracy that I'm definitely going to make, titled Top 10 Reasons Why Raid Shadow Legends was Game of the Year. Or something like that. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, let me know down below by doing the usual YouTube things if you feel so inclined, and I'll see you next time.